only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to Island T right here on Win Media SKN. It is a lovely day, Jade. Tuesday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Terrific Tuesday, Jade. It's not a tropical day. We're all in white today.
No.
But it's Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. July as well now is more behind us than in front of us.
Indeed, it is flying.
Yeah, guys. And of course, you're here with your faves, me, Azam, and you've heard her already. Jade Gwen Edita, CPL Martha Stewart Johnson, right here in the studio, sitting to my left. Jade, how are you this morning?
I am quite sleepy. Can somebody sponsor me a coffee, please? That would make my day. I just need a coffee to get me through these 2 hours. And then I'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, Jade, yesterday someone called me and they were like, you need some rest. I'm looking at you on the show. I can hear the tiredness in your voice. I was like, yes.
Well, aren't they aware?
But the truth is I started trying to remember what rest was and had a difficulty. It had been some time.
Since you've seen a pillow?
Since I have experienced such. I vaguely remember it being something where you do nothing.
Yeah, about correct.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. I'm hoping someone could give me the accurate definition of rest, and so I could see if I could
get some of it.
Yeah, and let me know where you could find it. I'd appreciate that. But you also seem like you're in a similar boat.
Listen, I am sleepy.
What I don't understand, Jade, we live in a life, we live in a world, where we constantly buy, purchase, create, think of, innovate things that are supposed to make our lives easier, more efficient, give us more time to do things. However, everyone just seems more and more busy. How is that possible?
Adulting.
That's our adults.
Yes. You know, as soon I'm not gonna lie, I woke up this morning and I told God, thank you for waking me up. And as I was rising out my bed, I said, I explicit and this adult shit. Because I was tired. I am tired. I hate it. I hate being an adult. As in, I hate it. I'm so tired of it.
Responsibilities, Jade. That's how it is.
Yes.
Responsibilities. Yeah.
I remember being a child, being able to just sleep, As a matter of fact, when you was a child, you didn't even want to sleep.
Yeah. Especially on a Saturday. Why is it that children, for some reason, every day they can't wake up Saturday morning?
Bright and early.
Energy.
They like the chicken them.
Energy.
Waking up your child for school.
Yeah. Just turn over.
But Saturdays, oh my God.
Saturday, they're doing you the same thing. It's like payback.
Say that there's always with the chickens on Saturday.
Yeah. But it's always interesting to me how we always seem to have less and less time when we constantly have things that are supposed to make our lives more efficient and easier. And yeah.
It's cause it's a scam as
No, it is. No, it's obvious. It obviously is a scam. It obviously is a scam. You have your cell phone that you walk around with. So you're walking with a computer in your pocket now. You can handle things easier, boom, boom, bam. Communicate with people. You ain't got to go look for a payphone somewhere.
But that just give more work.
Just give you more work. No, yet no more people have access to you.
Not gonna lie, this close to just laying down and just not moving again. Like refusing to actually do anything.
Yeah. I mean, what would actually happen? I mean, the world wouldn't come to an end.
I could, no, but I know my job might come to an end.
Yeah, watch here. Since the pandemic, people recognize you ain't got to go nowhere to work.
As I work at a radio station. I'm literally on the radio. The radio can't come to me house.
We just talk about the fact that we have phones, Jade.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think the people want to see me.
Laying in bed?
No.
You'd be surprised.
That's true.
You'd be surprised. I used to watch this show with this couple. They used to do it from their bed. They just sit down in their bed and talk about relationships. And they used to have like 1 million viewers every week.
But then that would mean that you would have to be here. Somebody have to be here,
But you the one who say you ain't want to move,
Oh,
I can keep moving.
Okay, right.
I can keep moving. I can't deal with the atrophy. I got to lift up heavy things in the morning and so.
Just what? Texas the heat house. Listen, I've been watching the weather from around some of your countries,
No, Jade.
Drink plenty water.
Jade, what is... And morning, Mel. I'm glad you're back safe. But what has been crazy to me has been Europe.
That's what I tell you.
Europe is... Don't matter talk about Australia, but Australia usually hot.
Europe literally said that they're experiencing something that they never experienced before.
Look, let me tell you something. I've been to Europe, right? I used to make this joke, like when Christmas time and people complaining about it's cold, I'd be like, what do you mean it's cold? It's like England in the summer. Like, when it's raining all the time and people complain about how cold it is and it's raining or whatever, I'd be like, please, this is like England in the summer. I used to make this joke all the time. I can't make it no more.
You better not.
I can't make it anymore.
Right now this summer, doing something different.
And the thing about it is, we might be here in like 98 degrees and being like, that's normal. That's normal. What are you saying? All right, the whole place going crazy for 98 degrees. But Jade, these people aren't prepared for it. Like, I don't think...
They better go put on some sunscreen.
Because
though they're cooking like eggs.
But what I'm saying is, like, people in a lot of these European countries, they don't have anything called AC. Like, they don't have no AC. They never needed it.
Well, they could make them.
Yeah, but now it's like, wait, what do we do? They're just totally unprepared. You know how much people living in certain parts of Europe have never used ice in their drink? Like, just think about that. Like, they never had to.
They're going to figure it out now.
They got to figure it out now.
Because I'm telling you, I've been watching over there and it's saying, like, we've never experienced this type of heat.
Open his water, Jade. Jade, you're going to wet up the place. Okay, thank you.
They've never experienced this type of heat. Well, we
Yeah.
That's luck to you.
Oh yeah, but you see what Gawain is saying? I read an article about that last night. Yes, airport. Airports runways are melting.
Is this the last days? The rapture? Is this the rapture?
I don't know if it is. I just know it's. If all the people tell me global warming is a myth.
Oh, why would I say? Well,
Jade,
no,
there
no,
have
no,
been...
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yes. That has been an argument forever. And it's like, do you not feel the heat?
Do you not see that things are not the same
El
as
Nino.
we met them?
El Nino was here telling y'all, yeah, guys, something ain't right.
We have deforestation, the oceans on fire, the coastlines receding, the heat doing different things.
There's certain cities that are soon going to be underwater.
And y'all just thinking it's a joke. Okay. Cool. 108? But then you might need to come to think, to mingle with you.
Glennet,
You might need to just catch a plane because dealing with,
people may not be... People probably supposed to live there.
yeah, I don't know if that's safe for the human skin. 108-degree weather. I'll just stay inside. But then inside hot, so I don't know what you're going to do.
I have been in some pretty cold places. I think the coldest I've felt might have been negative 15 or 16.
That's when you laugh, my friend, because I'm not experiencing anything with a negative in front of it. That is not what I want for myself.
You might not be what you want, Jade, but trust me, at some point, the trajectory your life is on, you're going to experience it. Right? The thing is with that, you stay inside or you layer up, right? Okay. You layer up or whatever. Now, I used to be like, people probably shouldn't live there, but I am beginning to think probably we all should migrate to those places because by next year, them places are going to be a nice, cool 74.
Yeah, man. You got to balance out yourself. With the way things going, you might balance out yourself for real.
Oh my gosh.
When St. Kitts not to snow, that's when I ain't nothing serious, I just waiting.
Jade, it's been hailing in St. Kitts. You ever experienced hail here?
Mm-mm.
I have. Like it was
Crazy.
It's like, wait, what going on? I remember one time I was driving and we just started to hear these things on the car. Like, wait, what going on here? And my father was like, it's hail. It's hailing right now. And then another time was Upper Cayon. And hail fell again. Crazy. I was like, wait, what's going on? There's ice?
That is insane.
Yeah.
Then that you don't have no seawater, Lord, I'm going to pray for you. That's all I could offer you right now without temperatures.
Oh, she's in Texas. Glennet, what part of Texas are you? Just let us know.
Drought conditions, rolling blackouts.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh, this planet is so ghetto. Did you see the new picture of the solar system?
Yeah.
We are literally a speck. And this speck might be the ghettoest speck among all the specks. Because the things that has been happening down here don't make any sense.
I think the aliens just watching us and just saying, y'all think they're going to figure it out?
No.
the aliens.
Not before we crash this, man.
The aliens, they're probably having a meeting right now at like the alien equivalent of the United Nations and going, should we intervene or should we just let them go extinct?
Listen.
They're probably having discussions back and forth right now about what to do about Earth.
Yeah.
They're like, they have potential, but...
They're just saying this math is bunch out there. And it's as well for people to actually still think that we're the only people in the whole entire universe, right? When we are literally a speck. Like a speck as
yeah.
A dust particle.
Yeah, probably, why?
And people think we are the only things in this entire universe.
But not only that, Jade. I mean, within that little speck of dust called Earth, right? There are people who believe they are still the most important thing in the universe. Not just us as humans, but them themselves.
No,
they are the most important human.
That is wild.
That's what, look, I tell you, for me, when I look at these things, right, it's just very humbling. Like, it's very humbling. Like, you have to recognize that, hey, in the big scheme of things, you are nothing.
Nothing at all. You are one of the least important things on this earth. Like, one of the least important things.
Yeah. Glennet is in San Antonio, and so I understand. Glennet, I will send you some ice and some sea breeze.
You got melt before you reach?
And some sea breeze.
You got melt before you reach?
No, refrigerated truck.
Oh, okay. Something, because boy, and a ship.
Maybe just put some seawater in this and send it up.
The bottom might melt before you reach.
Right.
With the way things are feeling. Well, somebody's inviting everyone home.
What's happening here? Talk to us.
So, the Concerned Citizens Movement sends a letter to Mr. Honorable Vincent Juicy Byron. Juicy wasn't there, but editing.
Right, but everybody need to know who we're talking about. Everybody know Juicy.
Yeah, they know Vincent Byron. So,
Who?
exactly. But for those who still are confused, he's the Attorney General for this year's Sweet Old Federation. And it says, Dear Honorable Byron, I write on behalf of the Concerned Citizens Movement. As you are aware, an election is constitutionally due shortly. Oh, this is from the 15th of July. The CCM party intends to invite its supporters living in the diaspora to come home to cast their votes in this critical election. The existing entry protocols demand that those seeking to enter our borders must apply online and await confirmation from those controlling the entry portals before they can board their flight to come home. Many have complained that the approval process is cumbersome and oftentimes passengers have missed their flights because the approval was not obtained or not obtained in time. Hi from St. Kitts to the UK.
Well, let me wake up yourself.
Yeah, man. With one of the highest vaccination rates in the Caribbean region, it is baffling that St. Kitts Nevis continues to have one West. That's what one West mean.
I can't see.
What one West mean?
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, me not either. Entry entry requirements, when other countries, across the region have abandoned such requirements. Yeah, they have been. That's a good point.
I think one must mean difficult.
I would assume so in this context. Mark, with his words.
Yeah, one was, yeah. Like a task, a difficult task.
Yeah, man.
I think that's
a good one to add to the vocabulary right there. Be that as it may, the purpose of this letter is to seek your assurance that all, in caps, citizens seeking to enter for the election will be allowed to do so, and that the protocols currently in place will either be relaxed for that purpose, or that there will be sufficient personnel manning the approval portals to ensure that persons wishing to come home are not prevented from doing so. This is a very serious matter that is of concern to my party, as we seek to ensure that the current system will not be manipulated to benefit any one political party to the detriment of others by selectively determining who is given permission to enter and who is refused or whose permission is delayed. I have copied this to the relevant stakeholders to ensure that immediate attention is brought so as to avoid any possibility of any registered voter being denied his or her constitutional right to vote in this election. Yes. And he has copied the Prime Minister, Abdias, Dr. Laws, Dr. Judy Nisbet, who I have no idea who that is, the Bar Association, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Evangelical Association, and the Christian Council.
That's why I always wonder why they doesn't include them two last.
Because they play an important factor in this here Christian society that we live in.
Correct. Have I let that man? Okay. That we probably should, but
no, I mean,
we probably should.
They're trying to save us all, and we're out here just wailing, so
out, yeah. So Jay, this is what I suspect is happening. I guess for me, I think Drip is saying, let's put this on record.
Yes.
Right? He's putting it on record to ensure or to say, hey, we understand that this is something that could happen. Y'all ain't gonna try work one on us.
The man say, I ain't gonna try that.
Don't try that. No. I know it's possible, so it's not that I'm dismissing the thing.
Well,
but you
went through the travel protocols and you see how terrible that be so.
No, but I mean, I think what's happening is he's saying that he has a concern that they're going to weaponize the entry process against persons who they deem not to be supporters of whoever. No, You understand the effort it would take to do that?
You understand?
Because you'd have to then sort people by political affiliation.
Well, listen.
And how do you do that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't put nothing past nobody.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't think it's possible. It's not that I'm dismissing the possibility. So I understand why it was necessary. And it has been a concern. It's something that's been talked about. Remember I had this screenshot of saying like in the protocols there was a drop down menu where you had to select your purpose for travel, and election was one of them.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't know if that's true, because when I went to check for myself, it wasn't. They said they remove it.
Yeah, I think they said they remove it.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't there. Who knows?
Who knows?
I haven't spoken to anybody that actually did it themselves.
I did.
You said it. So you saw it?
Well, they did.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't spoken to anybody that actually went to the site and saw it in the list.
Yes, that's what they're telling me. They went right after, when they got the streets right, they went to check and they saw it.
So you spoke to somebody, not that you did it. Okay.
Yeah, not me.
Okay. So I'm saying is, obviously, the concern is there.
Mm-hmm.
I am just thinking.
Remember, it is not easy. It is not easy to catch to know everybody's political affiliation. However, there are some people that are pretty vocal.
Yeah, Jade. But what I'm saying is, let's look at past elections.
You really wanted it,
right? You're bringing in hundreds of people, right? I guess the way for me to know who is coming in.
See, my sister said.
Okay, nice. So what I'm saying is, for you to know who somebody, the easiest way would probably be based on if they're coming on a charter, because then you could figure out who chartered the flight.
Yeah,
right.
See, there are options and ways and means. But like a regular flight might be more difficult unless you literally.
Definitely possible.
Yeah.
Definitely possible. Now, this. I don't even know about. See, to the most, like I say, it would have to be if you're coming on a charter.
Yeah.
Because then there would have to be, and at that point is an assumption. If you're coming on this charter, we assume you're coming for this party.
Yeah, because this party is who, yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
what?
No,
this is what England wish they feel like.
My thing is, yes, since it was a concern, I don't have a problem with it being brought to the fore. But I think on a wider level, we have to just look at the protocols.
Yeah.
Not only what it takes to get into the country, but also the process.
Yeah, man.
Like I have to travel in a few minutes.
Literally.
And I'm literally just going for an hour. Like, basically, I'm going a stone's throw away for a few hours and come back. And I have to go through this process that is tedious, and it's like, and where I'm going, I don't have to do any tests, I don't have to do anything, I don't have to do any protocols, I just go, phew.
I'm telling you, I've been looking at different countries just saying, yeah, I feel like we're finished with this, man. We're finished with this entry protocol thing. Yeah, y'all just come. You know what country is saying, yeah.
I don't have a problem with the protocol. My thing, not that there being some protocols, but to me, the protocols have to continually evolve based on the current situation, right?
Yeah. There's no reason people should be calling and begging people to go look to see if they say the approval that I sent hours or days ago, because they're literally set to go on the flight and they have not received any correspondence.
And the truth about it, though, Jade, is that and the thing for me too, I don't get so upset, because I have been traveling where a member of my party we couldn't get their approval, and the same thing, I had to call somebody who had to then call somebody to get it organized, right? But I understand that must be a tedious job, because all of these things have to be approved by some human, right? This is a human interacting with the application. Now, if there are delays, right? If there are delays come election time, where we know there's going to be a huge influx, people ain't going to stop to study that perhaps ain't even issue to do with trying to keep out people and then they're trying to stop me from voting, and it could just be that it's overwhelmed, like that the system is overwhelmed, because how much people, remember, most of these people gonna have to do, as it stands now, within 24 hours is when they're gonna end up sending in their requests. So imagine you get a couple thousand requests in 24 in like a few hours, and you got 6 people trying to process all of these.
Let me tell you, this
and it don't matter if everything is on the up and up. Once there are delays, well, of course the optics are. You see, I don't tell her so.
No, it's gonna be rough, man, because it was already rough before we had
already
COVID
rough
and the protocols, especially around election time. We've seen the videos of the people stuck at the airports. They know how they're getting back up. They have work the next day. All type of things happening. So now with these protocols,
it's gonna be rough. But my thing is, outside of the election, that's what I'm saying. For me, outside of the election, we need to look at it. I have interacted with several portals, Jade, over the last few months. None of them is as
stringent,
redundant. It's the redundancy for me, Jade. The redundancy is the issue for me. How many times I have to put in the same information? Why is it that I have to put in the information and then upload the thing with all the information right after?
And then when they come, they still ask.
And then when...
They still ask you. Like, miss, you ain't have the paper for tell you. Why send you this paper for then, if you're going to ask me?
It's the redundancy. The amount of questions they ask. The amount of things they look at. I got to St. Martin. I've been to... Well, don't bother talk about St. Bart's. St. Bart's, they were just like, good morning.
Come.
Bye. The St. Bart's kind of mystic, because the man don't even check your bag when you're leaving. The man just be like, have a nice time, come back.
Yeah, man, that's all.
My name's security. But anyway, but what I'm saying is, just even outside of the election thing, we have to look at the process,
man, it's
and of course the
time.
protocols themselves.
It is time. I understand in the beginning we wasn't sure, so we had to, do some testing and, hits and misses. But it's time.
Jade, you can't tell me that we are free to move about. You do go to the supermarket, you don't have to wear a mask. Most places don't require masks and so anymore. But then we have these levels of...
The hand sanitizer machine, they ain't even got a hand sanitizer. They're just empty.
They ain't got a battery. They don't even plug in. Some of them don't even plug in. They're just there.
Yeah. Remember the people that used to spray your hand, them they're gone too.
Bye.
Are you telling me the travel protocols you can't fix? No, man, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So, yes, the concern, there's definitely a concern in relation to you weaponizing that come election time. But even outside of that, there needs to be some changes, man. There needs to be some changes.
Me, I'm clear where I went on a vacation, no? Long time I see you. Cleo.
Cleo's back.
Morning,
Cleo.
Anyway, friend, we have to take a break because we have to talk to the beautiful Namo about waste and why it matters. So,
it's Tuesday, no?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, guys, we're going to take a short break and be right back with more Island Tea. And, of course, coming up next, like Jade indicated, is going to be Talking Trash. So stick and stay. Don't go anywhere.
If you say you love your little dear country, try to do something positively. Be a watchdog for the environment. Don't leave everything to the government. We dump our garbage anywhere, lit on the streets everywhere. Our behavior is telling me that we really don't care. Take some pride in your country. Volunteer to clean where it's dirty. Tourism development needs a healthy environment. Whenever we litter, we threaten our survival. So those who engage in it should be treated like criminals. So don't be afraid at all if they call you an informer. Report those who endanger our future. So if you really love this blessed land, this situation demands attention. Think about the future generation. Do what we can to preserve this island. The have to let justice take its course. If you are a proud citizen, you have the right, you have a reason to save this land from destruction. You have an obligation to become involved in anything which affects this nation.
The Solid Waste Management Corporation, SWMC, is working hard each and every day to keep St. Kitts clean. Our primary mandate is to collect household waste while maintaining the engineer sanitary landfill in Connery. While it is the responsibility of businesses to see to it that their garbage is properly collected and disposed of at the landfill, the SWMC offers a commercial waste disposal service with our Nosy program. We also offer a bin rental service where persons can rent large bins to do community cleanups or other waste disposal activities. Additionally, our headquarters in Taylor's Range include state-of-the-art conference rooms for rental. So when you're hosting another event, consider using the SWMC conference facilities. We want to continue serving you by keeping our environment clean. Because at the SWMC, waste matters. For more information, call our office at 465-9507.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Win Media SKN, and we are in studio with our friends from the Solid Waste Management Corporation for Talking Trash, and we have Nama right here with us. Nama, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you guys?
Okay, let me hear you.
Perfect.
Go ahead again.
I'm fine, thank you. How are you
we got you.
guys? Yeah, you got me now?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, lovely. Yes.
So I didn't hear. How you say you were doing? You were good?
I'm good. I'm good, man.
I know there's a few things that could be better, things that we're probably going to work on right after the show.
Okay.
But, hey, we work with good.
Yes. And then it will get better after the show.
I'm sure.
Yes. So today we're going to this was in line. Well, not quite in line, but this is what it was a plan. And yesterday, of course, I tuned into the show and I believe it's Sergeant Henry.
Yeah.
Yes, and she was speaking about derelict vehicles. And derelict vehicles was also a topic that we wanted to cover for this week. So
Synchronicity.
yes, that's a sign. When the universe is giving you the same message over and over again, you need to pay attention and listen and act on it. So if any of you out there have derelict vehicles, I think you should probably take action now because you never know what's going to happen in the future.
Well, we do know that the derelict vehicles is a serious issue around.
Yes.
Right? So do tell us a bit more.
Well, the thing is, I have some good news, of course. We have the not so great news that the derelict vehicles are not only an eyesore. So most of us think, okay, it's just an eyesore. We don't want to see it on the pavement, or we don't want to see it on an empty lot. We don't want to see it here or there. But the derelict vehicles also present a health hazard. So in doing so, obviously, we need to do something about it. So an eyesore, we don't want to deal with it, but we can deal with it. But a health hazard, that means we have to take some sort of action. So that's not the great news. But the good news is that there has been an amnesty now for quite some time. And I believe, as you mentioned yesterday, that we do come and take your vehicle. We pick up your vehicle for you for free, and we dispose of it again for free.
For free.
So there's no cost that's attached to that for you at this time. And so capitalize on that. Use that opportunity to do so, because if the amnesty ends, or because I do not believe this amnesty is going to be indefinite. So when the amnesty ends, I don't think anyone who currently has a derelict vehicle has a right to complain or say anything about the $20 tipping fee.
Imagine that, $20, eh?
Yeah, that's a little...
To me, that there should have been the amnesty. Come take up your whole car, $20.
You know, and who knows? The thing is,
You should love
COVID
it.
has taught us that we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Prices are going up right now, etc. And of course, businesses are going to have to make adjustments in terms of their prices. And that, I mean, solid waste thus far for many, many years has not altered its prices. And we don't know if perhaps in the future we'll be pushed towards doing so. So when the amnesty ends and perhaps the price of disposing of a derelict vehicle goes up, you don't have a right to complain anymore because you were given the opportunity and you did not capitalize on that. So now is the opportunity. Capitalize on the amnesty and call us, contact us, let us know that, hey, I have a derelict vehicle, or you know, there's a derelict vehicle in my community that's an eyesore, is presenting a health or safety hazard. And we will come, we will tag it, and then do what needs to be done. But what I want to do is actually just read from the act, because I know sometimes I tell you, yes, you could go on the website and you can, you know, read the act for yourself. But I know some of us do not like reading that much. So I'm going to read for you just like a little bedtime story.
Oh.
And I hope my voice is soothing enough, but not too soothing that you actually go to sleep.
I'm
But-
attentive.
Yes, just enough to be attentive. So I'm going to try not to be too squeaky or harsh or anything of the sort, so that, you know, you pay attention, but not too smooth so that you go falling asleep on me, right? But it's not going to be that long. So Section 37(1) says, a person who owns a derelict vehicle, white goods, or other scrap metal shall take such vehicle, goods, or scrap metal to an approved landfill site or another site approved for the purpose of managing such vehicles, goods, or scraps. So, good thing. You, right ahead, you know, you don't have to take it. So that burden is off of you. You don't have to pay for it. And you know that there's only one landfill on the island. So you're not supposed to be taking any of these things anywhere else but the Connery landfill. Let me reiterate that again. There is no other landfill on the island except the one that exists at Connery under the Solid Waste Management Corporation. So I know in terms of scrap metal, white goods, and so forth, we have thus far for a few years now, we've shipped out over 11 million tons of scrap goods and white metals and so forth, and white goods and scrap metals and so forth. So over 11 million tons. That's a lot for a small island. And we have been able to collect over 5,000 derelict vehicles. And there are still so many. It's still a problem. Now imagine having collected 5,000, but it's still an issue. It means that we do have a lot of derelict vehicles out there. It means that it is a serious problem and we need to take note and do something about it. And in order to do that, the corporation has decided, okay, let's do an amnesty and let's facilitate the whole entire process. So you don't have to pay. Again, I keep saying it, not because I'm a broken record, but because I need for us to understand that there is no catch to it. There's no disadvantage for you as an individual to just make a phone call and say, I have a derelict vehicle in so-and-so area. Please come and collect it. We will do just that. So that was 37(1). 37(2). An authorized officer may order a person referred to in subsection 1 to remove such a vehicle within 7 days. So we've had exercises over the years and where we've gone to the different communities, identified derelict vehicles and put removal orders on them. Now, an authorized officer, we have litter wardens, but as Sergeant Henry stated that the police officers and police officers can do that as well. And let me say this again, I've said this on the show and I've to some of the trainees, into police officer trainees, that every single police officer is an ex officio litter warden.
Really?
Yes.
So you don't have to be in traffic. You don't have to be in any particular department.
Every single police officer is an ex officio litter warden, so they can uphold the act.
Nice.
In terms of, they can put a removal order. They can, they're the ones who can actually stop you on the road. We can't. We can only take action if you're at a standstill, but they can stop a vehicle. And if your waste is not covered properly, or if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, they can stop you and they can issue you whatever penalties and so forth, write you up for whatever offense that you might have committed at that time. So every single police officer is an ex officio litter warden. So as an officer, if you see a derelict vehicle, and there are a lot more of them than us in terms of litter wardens, so do that. And then we will come in and we will be able to just pick that up and clear that area. Because, and the thing is, what I find quite interesting is that derelict vehicles are often on the narrow roads.
Yeah. And
Why?
The side roads.
Why? You see a narrow road and, a bright idea comes to, yes, this is the perfect spot for me to obstruct traffic on the narrowest of roads in your community.
I guess because the narrowest of roads, a lot of times the persons that live there, a lot of them don't own cars. So the traffic on the roads tend to be less anyway.
Really?
I think the traffic on the narrow roads tend to be less than on the wide roads.
You think so?
Narrow roads tend to have less traffic.
I need to look into that.
But I guess the side roads, let me put it this way, the side roads would have less traffic than the main roads.
I can attest to that because I lived on a side road.
There's less traffic.
There's way more.
Way more traffic?
Yeah, on the side roads.
Yeah?
You never drove down my road. You never. I don't remember what I used to live.
But I guess that was because of where you live.
Yeah, that's my point.
So I guess in some instances, perhaps there's less traffic, and in some instances, there's more traffic. But it is a selfish act nonetheless.
Yeah.
That you're going to choose to put a vehicle that you know for a fact is not going to be moving anytime soon, if ever.
Half on the sidewalk, half in the road.
Exactly. So so you're creating a permanent obstruction to traffic. That's not what word to use. I don't want to be not nice to anyone.
You want me to do it?
Yes.
It's okay.
Jade, you could.
I'm choosing better today. I have on my white.
Oh, I have on black. So
Take it away.
No. I want to keep my job. So let's be cognizant of that you don't want to cause any problems for anyone. Let's think about each other. So that is number 2. So within 7 days, you're supposed to move your vehicle. Where a person who owns a vehicle, referred to in subsection 2, cannot be identified, the authorized officer shall affix the removal order on the vehicle that is required to be removed, and if on the expiry of 7 days such vehicle is not removed, the authorized officer shall arrange for the removal of such vehicle and take it to the site referred to in subsection 1. So once we've placed that removal order and the vehicle has not been moved within 7 days, then the onus then becomes on us to remove that vehicle, and we will do so. Now, when the amnesty is not in effect, the cost incurred, which I shall now read section 4, all expenses incurred by the corporation by virtue of this section may be recovered from the owner or person in charge of the vehicle as a civil debt owing to the government in any court.
That sounds serious, man.
Bye. When you hear that C word, you know.
So if we remove the vehicle and we incur costs, which of course we will,
Of course.
then that means you owe the government. And that can be upheld in any court.
And one thing government wants is the money.
Correct is right.
Right?
I better use this amnesty period, or when it gets to that $20, it's only $20.
And so I want to encourage people who live in the communities to report the vehicles. Like,
Yes.
Just report the vehicles. You know,
Sergeant Henry said it yesterday. We don't have eyes everywhere. We can't see everywhere. You, as a community member, as a person even if you're just passing by and you see a vehicle, like, that does not belong here. Call, make a phone call, inquire. It doesn't hurt to inquire. You know, say, okay, there's a vehicle that looks like a derelict. I've had phone calls come in and persons are saying, you know, I see a vehicle park up somewhere. I didn't see it yesterday, but it don't look like it's a vehicle that could move. Well, maybe I'm prettying up what the person would have said. Right. But the gist of it is, I'm seeing this vehicle. It looked like somebody just came and dumped it here. Can you guys come and check it out? And we've gone. We've checked it out. We've investigated. And in some instances, we've had to remove the vehicles. And in some instances, persons were probably clearing a plot of land or something, and they had to put it back, or they had parts to get from it, or whatever it is. But if you have a derelict vehicle, you have to secure that on your premises. No. Just because the vehicle is on your premises does not mean that it does not present a hazard. So if it's presenting a hazard and it's on your premises, remember that as litter wardens, we have a right to be able to come onto your property. So if the derelict, you have several derelict vehicles there, or one derelict vehicle, but it's presenting a health hazard or any kind of other safety hazard, then of course action has to be taken as well. So just removing it from the side of the road and placing it on your property may not be the end of it. So if you still have things to get from it, whatever parts or whatever it is, or you believe that you have a vision, or you have some sort of dream of becoming a mechanic and you want to, practice, all well and good. But eventually, if the vehicle is unmovable and eventually if grass start to grow from it in all sorts of areas, that vehicle needs to be moved. Sometimes we just have to accept reality. Mm-hmm. I think.
Let it go.
Yes. I think something, I don't know if a requirement of being a mechanic is having some sort of, just a little bit of hoarding.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think so. I think because for the ones that I've seen,
you know,
all of them have that little hoarding.
That little hoarding. I think we need to pray for it to be removed or something.
I've seen mechanic shops all across the world. They don't always look like that. They don't have to look like that.
I think also it's because in some parts of the world as well, you have health inspectors who come quite frequently. Yeah. And so they could look like that, but that might mean you being shut down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I've seen some, like there's one in Kayan that is like the cars, them starting to go out the trees. How serious it is over there.
Oh, gosh. But one of the things is that I think communities need to hold business owners accountable as well.
Precisely.
So as community members, most of our communities have community leaders or some sort of group, association, or persons who are just respected. Those individuals need to hold any type of business accountable, because whatever that business is doing, it's a reflection on your community. So if your mechanics around your community are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're hoarding, and they're having, parking these vehicles all over the place, obstructing traffic, then that's a reflection on your community. Whatever you accept as a community becomes part of that community. Whatever behavior you accept, it will be identified with your community. So if we don't want that, then as a community, we need to stand up and say, well, no, you have this property for your business. Ensure that the vehicles you take can be accommodated within that property or within that space. But I know it's a bit challenging, but we need to do what we have to do. So let's reiterate. The thing is, I could reiterate the act, but right now with the amnesty, I don't have to. It's free. And we know we like things to not have a monetary value attached to it. So it's free for now. So ensure that you save your $20 plus whatever transportation fee you would have incurred, At this time, we will come, we will take up your vehicle, and we will dispose of it for you for free. All you have to
Free.
do is give us a call. Just call us.
Y'all have a WhatsApp number? Because they're going to say they ain't got no money on the phone.
They could walk up to the office. Mhm.
That works as well.
Yes.
Indeed.
It's right in town.
Yes. Well, a little.
One
It's
of
on
them?
Taylor's Range.
Close enough.
Yes,
that's
that's
a 5 minute
close.
walk from town.
Yes. Now, for those of you who find it challenging to walk in this hot sun, because it is hot, borrow your neighbor phone and make the call.
Just give them the numbers to call.
Oh, yes. I need to do that. Now I've just gotten a brain freeze. Jade, why did you do that?
Well, if we tell them to call, they have to know what they have to call.
Yes. And I need to find it in my notes to call.
Yes.
I've just gotten a brain freeze. What is...
I'm sorry.
Actually, recently memorized the number by heart. Yes, I am ashamed. I don't even know my own number, so that's
okay.
fine.
I just learned when I have number and it literally on all the screens.
Oh,
It's
no.
literally behind us. So
Oh, no.
that can be worse than, yeah. But guys, yes, it is free. Absolutely free.
Free.
You just have to call them at the number that Namo is going to tell you in a bit.
I am, and I don't even, and the thing is, I don't even have my phone to Google
Oh,
it.
I could do that.
Yes, do that.
You chat and I can tell them the number.
I think it's 465-9507.
Waste management. It
Yes.
is
It is?
465-9507. You are
Okay,
correct.
yes, I had to write it. Even with spelling, I can't spell off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Maths, I
yeah,
can't do that. I have
see it,
to,
yeah.
I have to write it. So like when I started to write it,
We
I
all are
remembered.
dyslexic, you know.
Yes, I
Man,
think
the
so.
mind is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, man.
It's extraordinary. And it's so extraordinary that I do not understand why an individual will choose not to capitalize on the amnesty that we have to dispose of their vehicle for free.
Because they have no intention of disposing of it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is.
Oh.
Which is why,
The neighbors need to call.
and when the litter wardens and the police officers see these vehicles, yeah, they ain't got no excuse. All they gotta do is tell them thanks.
Yes.
Because you
Just say
clearly
thanks.
was saving it there for them anyway.
You have, according to the act, I think it was 7 days after notice that they,
Yes.
they could take action. I think yesterday Shannon was saying they give you 48, you know, but you get up to 7.
Yeah, we go up to 7, and
Correct.
sometimes if an individual expresses that they need a little bit more time to get the parts or something like that,
Right.
usually given up to sometimes 14. And the thing is, the system will work with you.
Right.
Once it is you comply and once you explain yourself.
I'm make an effort to comply. Let's make an
Work
effort.
with
That's
the
it.
system if you want the system to work with you.
Exactly.
Simple.
You know, you work with me, I work with you.
Simple.
Yeah, so take whatever parts you need, you know, and then take advantage of the free disposal.
Exactly.
I would, but I don't have a car.
Oh.
Much less a derelict one, so.
You might have some scrap metals or white goods.
One of the things too that I realize some people do, they put them like in the cane fields as well.
Yeah. Fatherless behavior, man.
That and the thing is, I recall we had somebody from the fire department here at some point in time, and they did indicate to us how dangerous
Yes.
that can be. So we think we're putting it away from everything, but really and truly we're just creating a bigger problem.
I've
But
seen
if you're
that.
moving it to the cane field, just move it to solid waste.
Thank
You
you.
don't even have to move it. They move it for you for free.
Like, bro, that's
Thank
what you're going
you.
to take to move this car to the cane field. You could just call solid waste.
Exactly.
And
Just
they're
call
gonna
solid
complete
waste.
you. You don't have to lift.
465-9507. It's simple.
The only finger you have to lift is the one to make the call.
I've seen that happen several times because where I live there's it borders a cane field and persons would have brought vehicles, put it there, and then the cane field light off, inferno,
I know.
And that
and then you're just there wondering, I wonder what happens when the fire reach the car.
I'm pretty
Like
sure you
that.
don't want to find out.
we certainly do not. And sometimes those things happen. They reach the cars, and then it's problematic.
It creates even a bigger problem.
Yeah. So I think we just all need to be responsible for a change. We really need to take responsibility for our actions and know that our actions have consequences. And those consequences may not directly impact us, but it can impact somebody else that you would wish it had actually impacted you directly. Because imagine you dispose of a derelict vehicle in a cane field. Some children are playing somewhere around there. Something happened and brax, boom. You would wish it had impacted you directly.
Yeah.
Because that guilt alone, I mean, nobody wants to live with something like that.
No.
So let's just take responsibility. I know I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and, you know, but
It's necessary, yeah.
sometimes these things happen. Freak accidents happen. So let's just do what we need to do. Take it to the landfill where it can be disposed of properly, and we can get it off the island at this time. And, you know, just live a happy and healthy life. Have a happy and healthy environment. The environment will thank us for it. The community will thank us for it. And you can thank yourself for it as well. You know, if nobody's thanking you, just tap yourself on the back. You know, if nobody thanks you, thank yourself.
Indeed.
Right? Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for me today. I hope that everyone comes out with the message that it's free to dispose of your derelict vehicle. That's pretty much the message for today. And I'll see you guys next week right here on 98.9 on Win FM. Thank you guys for joining us, for those of you who are joining us on radio, and for those of you on Facebook and on YouTube. It's great to see you guys again. You can leave your suggestions or anything of the sort in the comment section. We'll check them out and we will try to respond through the program. So, as I always like to say, don't forget, waste matters. Bye.
If you say you love your little dear country, try to do something positively. Be a watchdog for the environment. Don't leave everything to the government. We dump our garbage anywhere, lit on the streets everywhere. Our behavior is telling me that we really don't care. Take some pride in your country. Volunteer to clean where it's dirty. Tourism development needs a healthy environment. Whenever we litter, we threaten our survival. So those who engage in it should be treated like criminals. So don't be afraid at all if they call you an informer. Report those who endanger our future. So if you really love this blessed land,
The Solid Waste Management Corporation, SWMC, is working hard each and every day to keep St. Kitts clean. Our primary mandate is to collect household waste while maintaining the engineer sanitary landfill in Connery. While it is the responsibility of businesses to see to it that their garbage is properly collected and disposed of at the landfill, the SWMC offers a commercial waste disposal service with our NOSI program. We also offer a bin rental service where persons can rent large bins to do community cleanups or other waste disposal activities. Additionally, our headquarters in Taylor's Range include state-of-the-art conference rooms for rental. So when you're hosting another event, consider using the SWMC conference facilities. We want to continue serving you by keeping our environment clean, because at the SWMC, waste matters. For more information, call our office at 465-9507.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less with our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Everybody beware, you better prepare. prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere. Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime.
There are basic steps you can take to prepare for hurricane season. When seeking public shelter, pet owners should make plans to ensure your pet's safety. Emergency shelters cannot accept them due to safety and sanitation requirements. For tips on how to secure your pets, please contact the National Emergency Management Agency at 466-5100 or by visiting NEMA.kn. From danger to safety, NEMA's there for you. I am Jamelia Henry.
Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere. Everybody.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome back to Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN. Guys, what happening, Jade?
Oh, I guess the laid back.
No, man, he can sit up when it's time to talk. Don't worry about that.
Okay, there we go.
But, yeah, guys, we have in studio with us, as Jade hinted, a very special guest, friend of the show. He's been here before.
Indeed.
And, every time he comes, it is also good vibes, very informative, amazing conversation. And I'm sure today will be no different. In studio with us, guys, we have Mr. Samuel Duggins. And I know, Samuel, firstly, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning. Good morning, Azim. Good morning, Jade. Good morning to our listening in Radioland, whether via social media or the actual airways. Good morning. I am here.
Well, yeah, you're here. And, the last time we were here, we spoke a bit about your story, your come up, and what you have had going on at a particular time. But this morning in particular, I know there is something that's in the air. Everyone is talking about it. Everywhere you go, it seems to be the topic of conversation, and that is the upcoming elections. And you are, of course, the candidate for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party in constituency number 4. Man, we deep into campaign time now. We on the home stretch, if you want to call it that. The bell has rung, and but first let me ask you about how you feel about the fact that now we do have that date, we do have that that target in mind for at least this particular phase of the campaign to come to a head.
Well, of course, it's a welcome intervention, because as you work, like for me coming in, I came in as a candidate in March, and that's about the time, because it was just after the announcement at Kuna that I was here the last time. So I came in March as a candidate. At that point, we did not have the dissolution of Parliament or anything as yet. I don't think so.
No.
So my vision was 2025 to some
right.
At that point.
You wouldn't have had any clue that we would have been here at this particular time. Right.
So I was ready for the marathon, right? I came in prepared to go to 2025.
Right.
And here we are.
Just a few months later.
A few months after.
You had to do a whole sprint.
We had to turn the gears up. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I could shift gears, right? So I'm here and I'm prepared to do the sprint. Yeah. Well prepared to do the sprint.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a welcome intervention. And so when I hear you expressing that, I can tell that to me it signals that the campaign, the feedback that you've been getting has been positive. Is that a fair assumption?
Oh yeah, the red shirt doesn't just signal being red; it's ready.
Right.
So the idea behind of it is exactly that. Now, my whole involvement in politics really came about from a lot of it from the request of the people. So even the tagline, the people's choice, the depth of that is that in constituency number 4, the people came out and demanded somewhat that not only that I be a candidate, but I be their candidate. And for them, that meant a lot. And it surprised me to see what it meant for them as a people. To say, look, we actually chose our candidate. We stood up and we went out and we chose our candidate. And this is who we wanted, and we demanded this is who we wanted. So for me as a candidate, looking at what that meant for them, the people's choice became the tagline because it's like there was a certain vibe that they wanted, and they said, look, for maybe one of the first times, we felt like we were in charge of the entire process of choosing who we want to represent us.
Understood.
And I just paid homage to that and respected that. Like, this is what you wanted. Here it is.
Right. Well, I mean, know that we are deeply in the lead up to election. The people would have said, "Hey, we want you to be our candidate. We want you to be somebody who is one of the possible choices to represent us moving forward." I know there has been a lot of conversations with said people, right?
Indeed.
And I'm curious though, one, how has that been going? What has the response been? But more importantly, what seems to be some of the common themes coming out of those conversations in terms of their concerns, desires, requests, etc.? Because I know for every constituency, there may be a set of and there might even come down to communities within constituencies, a set of pressing concerns that you find coming, being a common thread as you go through these interactions.
Well, what's interesting that I find the common theme as far as an issue is access to politicians. And I think in that case, that's one of the things that has been a strength for me. I'm generally very accessible. I'm somebody that would just go sit wherever they are and just hang out with them. And I've done that all my life, being a part of entertainment, being a part of sports. So it's natural for me to just be amongst people, and I have no worries being amongst people. I'm not one who tries to just run away from crowds or not be around, whatever is going on. I'm always in the mix. So one of the things that I think has been a strength against an issue has been the fact that they think a lot of times they elect politicians and then they disappear.
Okay.
So for me being so relatable and so social, it has brought a sense of ease and comfort for most of them, because they're like, Samuel, I know you're always here. I know where to find you on a Friday, I know where to find you on a Monday, and I'm still there. I'm still doing much of the same things, barring time limitation, of course, but
right.
It's the same thing,
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the argument would be, once someone becomes elected, the workload increases, and it may become difficult to juggle that those new responsibilities, along with being, like you said, with the people, easily accessible to the people, especially now that you have now become this focal point for people within the community, and so spreading your time becomes very difficult. How do you intend to create that balance? Because it does become very demanding when now you are the person who this whole community looks towards, at least for political intervention. And
indeed, you're so right. And it doesn't even happen when you get elected. Like, think about running a campaign where you have, I have well over 3,000 persons in the constituency, and they all demand your time in a short span of time. Like, think about the next 21 days, having to attend to the needs of over 3,500 plus. So
and balance a campaign, meetings almost nightly.
Still rest, still you have a family. I mean, it's a lot to juggle.
Right.
So a lot of times you find yourself wanting for time, wishing that there were a few more hours that you could fit into the day, beyond the 24 hours. But the truth is, it comes down to who you are, and I think people recognize all of these things. So not everybody will show that they recognize it, but when you get into conversation, so out of fear, a lot of people are like, oh, what's happening? But when you sit down and you talk to them, they're like, we know. It's really unrealistic for you to be in 5, 6, 7 meetings a day, get some rest, spend some time with your family, answer 100 plus phone calls, answer 100 plus messages, and still have time to focus on anything else. Right. It's really unrealistic, but you try as much as you can to do as much as you can. And
do you believe that one of the concerns, one of the talking points in this particular campaign that I've been seeing as a trend has been a situation where the campaign offices function as such, and so when there's no campaign, the offices tend to close down, right? As opposed to being a conduit that links the representatives or even potential candidates or even the parties with the persons between the communities. Do you believe that persons should expect that those offices function in that way? Do you believe that is one way that we could address the issue that you're talking about? Because it really does become difficult to satisfy the expectation of the constituents to have this direct face-to-face access with you on a whim, right? Moving forward. So how do we balance that?
And I think that is an excellent suggestion, and one in which that I have already put forward, that for me, not only that my office will remain open, because you need that space for people to come, make appointments, and have simple matters dealt with. Because a lot of the matters I've found that people have can be dealt with at an office, right? But not only that, I have already put forward that I will do my monthly town hall meetings once elected. So every month, I'll take that 2-3 hours out of my month and have a sit down with my constituents where they air their views, and I could give them an update on the matters of the day.
Right.
Because as we go along in government and as we would imagine, there are a lot of things that will be at stake and be at play, right? You have cabinet, you have decisions being made at so many different levels. You have international decisions that we have to abide by, regional decisions that we have to abide by. So you would have to give your people an update, because it's not just black and white. Right? So my idea is to have monthly town halls. So every month I could come and sit with you and say, this is where we are at this point. And hear your concerns as well as constituents, to hear where you are at this point. And then we could find some kind of medium in the mix.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea. Something that I hope others may consider adopting. Because like you said, it's one thing for you to then come and say, hey, such and such and such needs to get handled, or we feel such and such needs addressing. And then it might not even be so much that the politician has forgotten because that he's not seen anything happen, but there might be processes.
Correct.
Yeah, that need to take place prior to the actual execution. So being able to keep people updated also, puts them at ease in terms of, okay, he is working, or just even sometimes you need a reminder as to, hey, this is still an issue.
Correct. And that's the thing, is it really comes down to communication. And when you're around people all the time, you recognize that is really just communication. You tell me where you are today, and then tomorrow we see each other and you tell me where you are tomorrow, and we get to address the matter. And there's no build-up of anxiety and people being concerned that nothing is happening because they didn't hear from you for 6, 8 months or 2 years, 3 years, and then you come in the last 6 months to try and tell them everything you should have told them over the course of 4 years. Like, you can't expect that and expect people to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when the term, like you say it all the time, we expect you to be a representative, and so you have to have that constant communication. Otherwise, how do you represent me?
There you go.
Right.
And it saddens me because I've seen and I've witnessed it firsthand. You go to the politicians with issues, and they will tell you, "Man, don't worry about that. We'll deal with that when it's time to campaign." And I'm talking about, this is year one, you tell the issue. Year one. You tell the issue to them in year one. And their mindset is already that we'll deal with that in year 4 when we are approaching an election.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess it's because a lot of the politicians feel like their job only is most important when it's time to be re-elected, and not the job that they have to do throughout the election period. A lot of, as you said, you go to them and you tell them, okay, well, we have this issue in the community. How can you help us? They put it on the back burner until they realize, okay, well, it's time for the people to put me back in. So let me see how much things I can fit in the short space to make them feel like, yeah, I've been working, I've been doing all of these things. And we need people who get away from that mindset.
You know what I say? I liken it to, I see a lot of the politicians to me as people entering pageants rather than politics. So it's almost like their goal is to win the election, for winning the election, as if it was some kind of pageant.
Yeah.
So for them, they know what your concern would be now because you brought it to them. So it's like, okay, I'm going to use this to win the pageant. As opposed to, hey, I'm here to serve your needs. And I find that ridiculous. Like, I'm not here for a pageant. I'm here for politics, for service, to help people. So if you tell me in year 1 what your need is, and I could do it in year 1, it's done.
Yeah, I that's how I feel about politicians who often say, when you ask them about things that they plan to work on or they can't tell you in detail, but it shouldn't be a secret. We are the people who are trying to put you in office to do things that you said that you want to do, but we don't know what it is that you want to do.
This is it. I came out swinging. From Kuna till now, I came out swinging. This is what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that is, I hear it all the time, and I do believe that it's this old type of politics. It's something from a age that doesn't really apply now, and I'm happy to see that you are someone who is rather new to this particular environment, to taking things a different route in terms of, hey, if I'm going to these people to say, elect me, these are the things that I intend to do. And it's not about holding it back so nobody teeth it or whatever. As a matter of fact, I always say, well, if I'm not successful at the polls, I should still want these things to happen.
But this is it. And we had an interesting incident. So about 2-3 weeks ago, because we started a community beautification program in number 4.
Right.
We started cleaning up in the estate yard and a few other areas. And we put out a list of areas that we intend to beautify.
Right.
And within 2 weeks of putting that out, or within a week and some of putting that out, one of the other candidates went and beautified all the areas that we put out.
Okay.
But for me, I'm looking at it from 2 perspectives. One, we put forward a vision, right? That these things needed to be done because they hadn't been done in years.
Right.
And to see that, I mean, the resources obviously are there on the other side because we're talking about somebody that has access to government funding. And we are saying that, okay, thanks for using the government to achieving the vision that we had set forth.
It doesn't, in other words, the vision being executed doesn't it doesn't change the fact that you were the catalyst or the visionary.
There you go.
Right.
And the people receiving the service is pleasing to me because that was the whole basis of doing it.
That's the most important part of it.
Exactly.
It just shouldn't have taken you to put it forward for them to realize that these are things that need to be done. If you're there in the community and you represent the community, you should know what the community needs.
Not
You probably
not
do know what,
everybody.
but they probably do know, but it's the timing that they want to do things.
Sometimes you just need the catalyst, and at the end of the day, what needs to happen just needs to happen, right?
And that's it.
So
And that is why I'm the clear choice, you know?
Right. and the thing for me is, I'd like to hear a bit about some of these initiatives. You've spoken a bit about some already in terms of you addressing what you have seen being one of the major issues facing the candidates, which is access to the politician. You've spoken about how you intend to address that. But in terms of some of the other pressing issues within the constituency, what are some of your plans to deal with those?
Well, we have a number of areas, but the one that I want to really push first and really highlight at this point is what I call the highway of opportunities. You know, we've been talking about this highway that will stretch from Bastille all the way down to Capistille, right? Now, I think people hear it and hear a road, but I want us to understand that this is beyond just a road, because when we look at what is happening, where do we have the most available lands in this country? It's at the foot of the mountains, isn't it? In the interior of our land, of our country. Right. So imagine building a whole new, and almost a main road, if you want to call it that. A highway is a whole new access road. Imagine building that at the base of the mountains now, because that's where the land is accessible. It opens up opportunities to more lands for homes. It opens up, and these lands are generally virgin lands, so there's no construction, there's no design, so you're now creating a whole new map for what our constituency and communities can become. Because think about it. If you go Challengers, Old Road, and I'm using my constituency in the basis, there are areas that if there's a roadblock, you have to wait 1, 2, 3 hours. Let's take even Old Road Bay. Whenever Old Road Bay is destroyed, we have to journey all the way around the country just to come back to Old Road. So you could be in Challengers, right next to Old Road, and you'll have to go all the way around the country to get to Old Road. And we're saying that this now creates a whole new world of opportunities. But not just that. With the virgin lands, there's room for shopping complexes, commercial complexes, gas stations, easy access to farms, easy access to housing and homes. So you create a whole world of opportunities just by the introduction of a highway. So I want us to look at it not just as, oh, we're building a new road and it will ease traffic and all of that. Yes, of course, we welcome that because that's part of the agenda. But beyond the traffic congestion and creating alternate routes, we are saying that we need more lands for people. But what you're going to do, send somebody up in the bush to live?
Right.
Because once you build that highway, you need to light it. Then you already install electricity infrastructure. And then the water infrastructure follows. So right away, the lands now become more accessible. You have electricity close by, water close by, businesses develop. Let's look at Buckley's. The same thing happened when the bypass was built to Buckley's. If you remember what behind where the bypass is now, what it was just generally farms.
Farms, yeah. Sheep.
Pig, sheep, goats. It's a huge development now, a beautiful one at that. Again, because of the introduction of the highway.
Yeah, definitely. When we start talking about development, that type of infrastructure is critical, and roads do function as the main artery from which communities spread.
Right?
Correct. And one of the things that we speak about this on the show a lot, the need to decentralize commercial activity.
Everything don't need to be
everything in Bastille. That is a Bastille. We have outgrown Bastille. It's obvious we've outgrown Bastille, and we need to start decentralizing some of these services or even providing access outside of the city to some of these services. You don't have to come to town to do everything, you know what I mean? So,
and in regards to that, and sorry for interrupting, but in regards to that, there's another plan that we've been developing as well at New Guinea. So at the New Guinea boatyard, there's a plan at play right now to create a commercial pier.
Okay, down there just in a little bit. Look at your boat.
But that's the thing. So there's a commercial pier being developed that now will increase access of the boats to station or the neighboring countries. But that would also dock small cruise ships and cargo vessels.
Ah, okay.
Again, decentralizing commercial activity. Because now all boats and cruise ships don't have to go to the Bastia port.
Right.
They could dock at New Guinea, which opens up again jobs. Because now trucking and logistics, you have to get things to and from these vessels.
Yeah.
Then if you have cruise ships coming off, you want some type of commercial activity.
Yeah. And a lot of these heritage sites that a lot of the tourists are interested in visiting are right in that area.
Right in that area. Constituency number 4 has the most heritage sites hands down. You start in the beginning with the Bloody Point, and you end at the foot of Brimstone Hill.
Right.
And in between you have Carabel Batik, you have Sir Thomas Warner's tomb, and Sir Thomas Warner's landing site. You have, the whole idea of the hills being, it's just so rich in the Caribbean drawings. It's so rich in history and heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think these are the types of things that we need to really have come into the fore and implemented, and hopefully, there's the political will to achieve some of these things. Because even when you're talking about the New Guinea thing, one of the issues I always have when you go there, sometimes you come in, you got to wait for a customs officer to come, immigration officer to come, because, you just can't come off the boat and just run up and down the place. So, but they have to come from wherever they're coming from, sometimes town. Sometimes you're coming in 2-3 o'clock in the morning, based on how the boats were running or whatever, they have to come. It's just a whole, it's just a whole issue. So those are the types of thoughts I love hearing coming out.
And this is it. So this is something that I presented at my first meeting that we had in Half-a-Tree. And I've been working diligently since then to push this whole agenda. And I could tell you now it's well underway. This is something that will be happening.
Right.
So back then it was an idea of, okay, I love this idea. But over the last few weeks, certain things have been secured to ensure that it happens.
Okay. Because a lot of times that's what persons fear as well. Persons fear that, hey, we hear a lot of these good ideas, but for instance, people would ask questions like, how are you planning to pay for that? Or how are we going to look? Like, what exactly, who's going to benefit? Like, so these are the kind of questions that persons have when these ideas are presented. And so that's why I think it's important to really show that, hey, this is something that is achievable. It is just not some pipe dream in the sky. And here's the work that has been done to ensure that, hey, when we are successful at the polls, this is the plan that is about to be executed.
And that's the other part too. Like, I always believe in doing what you can do now. If you really want to represent someone, and there are 10 steps to the process to execution, but you can get 3 done, why are you going to sit back without starting the 3 that you could do now?
Right.
And that is exactly what I've done with this process. The 3 steps that we could have achieved outside of office have been achieved because I want to see this happen. The next 7 steps that require us being in office will have to be achieved after the election.
Right.
But the start, we've already made a start.
Right.
We've already made that stride to say, okay, we are at a place now that we know we can get it done.
So in other words, then it is not in other words, this is how I look at it. Your let me not say strategy, but the fact that you have been doing plays into the whole decision-making process for the constituents in terms of, here, there's a man that he he ain't just waiting till he get in to do anything. Like, we see what he has done, we see what he can do, what he's been doing. And so we feel there's a trust that's been developed there that if he goes in, that this will continue because he's already demonstrated it.
But it comes down to that. You are who you are. You are who you are. And if you know somebody that has already been doing things, they will always do things because that's their natural nature. Let's take, and I've had this conversation so many times. Let's take a candidate like Jeffrey Hanley. Jeffrey Hanley, ever since I've known Jeffrey, has been a man of action. I'm talking about even before I was a teenager, I've known Jeffrey. And he has always been a man of action. Growing up, I've known Jeffrey. He has always been a man of action. Jeffrey has been elected to Parliament, and he's still a man of action. You know why? He is who he is.
That's his nature.
It is his nature.
Okay.
So I'm saying this is how I think we should look at our leaders. What have you been doing before entering politics? And you judge them based on that, because guess what? When all the smoke clears and the dust settles, they will go back to who they are.
I keep telling people, if you plant a grafted mango, you don't get a grafted mango seed, you don't get grafted.
There you go.
You go back to your nature, You can't escape its nature.
But that is it. That is it. And when we look at our party leader, like, this man just loves people. He cares. Like, you ask anybody that he has attended to, oh, he's an excellent doctor. He's an excellent person. He cares for people. He's so humble. He's so nice. Wonderful experiences. When the smoke clears, he will go back to being who he is. The caring, loving person that he is. But if you elect somebody with different traits, different characteristics that you don't like, when the smoke clears, they'll go back to being who they are.
Well, I mean, I think that is something that the electorate has to take into consideration, and I believe we have begun maturing in a way where these are the things that we begin to look at. I believe that, I hope that some of the traditional tribalism that exists, has begun to kind of wipe away. I don't know, but it does then force the parties to ensure that the candidates that they bring forward are people, like you said, who are of the people, and the people want to represent them. It puts that pressure on the parties to bring forth people, present people to the people who they want to see there.
And that's the thing. And while in my song Written Thoughts, I said it. I ain't Superman. I don't have super friends. I'm just trying to save the world with a book and pen. But at this point, I'm now trying to just do my part. So even as a candidate, and number 4 will tell you, I don't have that. Like, I think the PAM persons, traditional PAM persons in the constituency, would all openly tell you, like, because they say it openly, like, Samuel, we love you bad. Some of them would tell you, like, Samuel, I can't support you because of my traditional political affiliation, and I will stick to that. But I could tell you I love you. I could tell you you're the right man for the job. But our historical, development just wouldn't allow me to actually support you, and I won't lie to you. I've had a few of those.
Right.
And I've also had some of them who say, like, forget politics. You are the right man, I'm supporting you. Right. But I'm saying that I show up to their events, and when I show up, it's same, run out, hug, kiss. Like, that's how we live. I show up in my red, you show up in your yellow, and we live good.
Right.
That's just how we live.
Do you believe, and this is a question that I want to ask you as someone who is fresh into this particular area of politics, running as a candidate, right? Has there been, from your experience or your observation, positive changes within the political culture that you can pinpoint and say, hey, I believe we are moving in the right direction? There might be some things that we still need to evolve to or mature into, but as I've watched politics change over the years, these are some of the positives that I've seen.
Well, I was just articulating one such development because as I'm saying that it is happening now, they're making it clear this has never happened before. So that is one positive development. And we have a number of situations like that, yes. One of the things I would say, though, is that I find some people are bent on being divisive. And I want to highlight this because it is one of the things that saddened me, and I want us to get away from it. Now, if we look at, like, there are two new candidates in number 4 and one incumbent who had won last election. And interestingly, for me, the other new candidate was a student of mine. We've been good friends. I mean, when they were away studying and they ran into any problems, they would call me. And I would, tend to whatever situation it is at the time. Even when they finished the final paper. They had certain issues. They called me from Taiwan. I went and I got tokens to all the people that assisted with their paper. Did a whole ceremony to thank everybody who assisted them. And the whole works. I mean, when you look at family relation, their mother calls me her son. Sisters, brother, everybody, the entire family circle, close-knit. And we have had an excellent relationship for maybe near 30 years.
Right.
I mean, even stretches back because his mother and my mother were classmates. So it stretches back, right?
Right.
And then whatever script is presented, there's, a whole negative projection, discrediting the fact and the truth that we have always been good. But then you see where the young minds are being corrupted by persons who have political agendas and presenting them things to say that they know it's just beyond what needs to be said at this point in time.
Do you believe that, and I know the answer to this based on what you're saying, but I want you to articulate it for yourself. Do you believe that there is a way for campaigns to be run where candidates can refrain from successful campaigns can be run, where candidates refrain from unnecessarily smearing the characters of their opponents?
I think we see it at play in the other aspects of the campaign. That is the only path, especially in number 4. We've been running a very, very active, but clean campaign, if you want to call it that. Like I could say openly, when Lindsey Grant opened his constituency office, I went over and I had a drink with them. The campaign is clean. But then here comes this divisive part of it introduced into the mix. And vandalizing billboards and,
The paint was.
Ridiculous paint was.
It is ridiculous. And I'm saying that prior to this divisive element being introduced,
there was a relationship there.
Everything was going fine. We know we're on separate teams and we campaign as hard as we have to.
But we've seen it in other constituencies. For example, mine, I've yet to see the representative for number 1 for the Labour Party and the PAM Party and the PLP Party go at each other, how I've seen some of these other candidates do it. So I know it's possible.
But let us say this again. And again, there was the Labour Party and the PAM Party. And then here comes the divisive nature in the middle, pulling down Jeffrey's billboards. Remember just a few weeks ago, they wanted to put up their billboards and they pulled down Jeffrey's and threw them down in the drain.
So what you're saying is that there are certain elements within the political class that use that type of campaign because they feel it would give them some edge in the outcome at the end of the
I think there are just some people with bad natures in the politics right now, and you see it.
Okay.
You see it. It's just bad intended people, and you see it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the problem. When your nature is bad and your intention is bad, it comes out. Who you are who you are. And because a lot of it rests on these people in terms of the decisions, that is the decision you see now being extended across the country. In number 1, in number 4. Like, ever since the introduction of this, it has just been negativity. Negativity.
All right. Because, I mean, I would love to see a situation where, like you said, people can run on the issues and the track record of the candidates. And I do believe it is unfortunate, the fact that you have candidates who have relationships prior to getting into the politics. And not only that, I think should develop relationships as persons vying for the position of the MP for particular constituencies, because I believe you want to believe that you may have like-minded people who, like I said, families might have been close, these kinds of things, but also may have some merit to some of what they are proposing to do for the constituency, and would have been doing, like yourself, work to ensure that these things come to fruition, even outside of politics. And so these people are resources that you can then tap on when you are successful at the polls. So you don't want to create this animosity, because I'm going to tell you something too. One of the things that for me is most troubling about it is that filters down through the supporters of the thing, and now you have whole communities, sometimes even families at odds, and to me that goes against the entire spirit of what we're trying to achieve just in this whole process of democracy. So I really want to see more, not only politicians like yourself condemn that, but even the electorate condemn that type of behavior.
And this is what I'm saying. And for me, someone said this to me just yesterday. There's no positive. The only aspect of the SA is to divide.
Man spitting bars by.
Listen.
You're a rapper, no?
When you want to separate two pieces of board that were once one, what you do?
What do you do,
I can't remember.
And it's sad. And, we laugh at it, but it comes down to what we're speaking on. We need to find ways to bring our societies up much closer. Our human resource is our greatest resource. And we can't survive as a small nation having it so viciously divided. We will have different opinions and differing views. That's fine. But when it comes down to bitterness and families argue, think about it. The most arguments within families has come because of one singular agenda in here. Think about it. It happened in number 3, number 8, number 4, number 5.
Yeah, politics is something else. But you've been speaking about how we shouldn't let these elements seep into what you're trying to achieve. And I want to know, how have you been able to deal with these type of nuisances? Because we see, especially on social media, that there are people with certain agendas, and their agendas are just based in trying to make the candidates look bad, or try to have this gotcha moment where they pull up old clips, or they try to put things out there for people to look at you differently. How have you been able to deal with these type of elements?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I think my life has somewhat prepared me for a lot of these things. Like I tell people, I've seen the worst moments in my life already, I've had the worst things said about me. I've been treated in ways that I should not have been treated, even as a young adult. When you look at my life, I've gone through the worst. And for me, in some of these stages, it was like, how could people even imagine this, right? And when I look at that, and I've had to go through that, and it has taught me that even if 1,000 persons have the same opinion, it doesn't make it right. So if you know the truth, then you hold on to what you know. Because I've had to live through that, right? So having lived through that for years, I am not bothered by what people say as much as maybe most people. I hold on to the truth. And I've learned that the truth always comes around and emerges when it is the right time, no matter what is going on. So I see where people, do all sorts of things. But it really doesn't bother me as much because you know what the truth is. Like, I've always been a stand-up person, and my principles have always been my principles. And if you know me 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you know me now. Because I stand up on my principles, whatever they are. And they usually evolve around balance. I always believe, like in politics, I still believe, and I said it even here, that you give people a reason to vote for you. Your traditional party politics is one thing, and you have to consider what that means for you. But if I'm coming to you and I do it in my constituency, if I go to a Labour person and they say, oh, Sam, you're safe, you ain't got to come back here. I'm like, no, I have to. Because I want you to understand what you're voting for. Yes, I know you love Bradshaw. Yes, I know you love Dr. Douglas. Yes, I know you love the party. But I also want you to understand what I bring. And I stop and I talk to all of them. I'm not depending that, they love Bradshaw, so they're going to love me and me. I'm not depending on that. I am saying that I am bringing this to the table. And I want everybody to know what I bring to the table. And that doesn't discredit your love for Bradshaw, or your love for Dr. Douglas, or your love for whoever. But I must introduce what I bring to the table. And I believe that then, and I believe it now. It's just who I am.
Yeah. Well, we have just about 17 days left, I think, before the election, voting day. What are your plans leading up to that special day?
Work. And it really is just that. Stay amongst the people, touch base with everybody, and really showcase what a new government will look like. Because there's so much that people have been lacking from our government, and I want to bring that to them. And just being who I am, I want to showcase to them what a new government could look like. And when you look at the party that I'm a part of, the team that we have introduced, I am amazed when I think about the team, and I must be honest with you. Because when you look at our candidate for constituency number 1, let's say, Jeffrey Hanley, no one is as passionate about education in this country as Jeffrey Hanley. No one, hands down. I don't care who you bring, where they're from. Everyone could attest that Jeffrey is the most passionate person about education. And you could see him clearly as a Minister of Education. When you look at the candidate for constituency number 2, again, a strong, powerful woman who has already shown her light in defending persons in court. I mean, a credible, competent lawyer. She has done her thing in the legal area, in the area of law. So again, somebody competent to stand up not only for women's issues, but in defense of anything that we are facing in the country. Somebody who understands the law. When you look at the candidate for number 3, an accomplished entertainer, and an accomplished engineer. So as you talk about infrastructure and roads and housing and doing it to a quality standard, you have somebody right in there that is competent and passionate and willing and ready to do it. I mean, when you look at myself, when it comes to entertainment, agriculture, and so many other areas, again, I've been doing it for years to the level where I've been internationally and regionally recognized in a number of these areas. When you look at number 5, a sportsman in Kenny Douglas. Again, passionate sportsman, representing our country at the highest level. So you could easily see Kenny as Minister of Sports. Again, number 6, We already know the capacity of Dr. Denzel Douglas. We've seen it at work. When you look at Leonardo in number 7, a man who stood up and championed issues relating to labor, and one who said, I have the right as a civil servant to support whichever party I want. And he pushed that case all the way through and won. And now, because of that case, any civil servant could stand up and say, look, I support this party or that one. And these are the people that we are putting before you to be elected and saying this will form your next government. And of course, when you look at the leader of our party, Dr. Terence Jew, we know about his credibility in health. We know about his own demeanor, a caring man, a man that loves people. And we're saying this is your next prime minister. This is your next prime minister. And when you look at the entire slate, I don't think you can, pound for pound, match that slate. I don't think so. I've not seen any slate that can match that pound for pound. And this is why I'm so happy and believe that there's no choice but the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party at this point for the next government. And we just want people to see that for themselves and recognize what it is.
Well, I mean, it's obvious to me that you have a high confidence in what your party is able to achieve and will achieve at the polls. And we really looking, I know you guys are really looking forward to bringing this particular part of the campaign to an end, and then, of course, going to governance.
Exactly.
And going to governance as we move forward. But, I mean, time is fast spent. We have easily ate up the time allotted to us today. But just before we go, I want to give you the opportunity to just say any last few words to our listeners and viewers.
Well, I want to say to the listening public, first and foremost, again, that your only choice in this election is the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. I just presented to you a number of reasons why. But I also want you to take this decision very seriously, because we've seen where our country has really been on a stagnant position for a while. And we need to reintroduce that development. And I think this party is the only party that could offer you a slate that is a clear and clean mandate, as well as a competent team. But beyond the national level, I want to speak to my people in constituency number 4 and say thank you for all your support. Thank you for everything that you do to showcase that you are ready to go out and vote this election. And I want to encourage you to steady journey. We do have 17 more days, and the election is not won until it's won. When the votes are counted at the end of election day and the results are presented, because even at the counting stage, given the vindictiveness of who we are dealing with, it is not done. We have to wait until the victory is presented, and I want us to hold straight until then. I know what your heart desires because you've brought it to me. So this is the question of who they are voting for. This is a question of whether or not we're going to have a fair election and a fair system, and I am praying for that. And I want to say to the country, we need to stand up and ensure that our democracy is protected, because this doesn't just affect today. It affects generations to come. So yes, I want to say thank you to St. Kitts Nevis for, and encourage everybody to just stand up for what they believe in. Stand up for your democracy. Yes.
All right, man. I appreciate you, and look forward to what is still to come in terms of the campaign and, of course, the election. Good luck to you and your team in terms of the campaign, and I'm sure once the election is finished, we'll have more conversations. But don't feel, when you want to come back again, before election call, you're always welcome here, friend of the show.
Definitely.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you for having me as well to Island Tea. I'm having my tea as I say.
But yeah, man, big up yourself, man. It's always a pleasure, man.
Cheers.
But guys, we're gonna have to leave. We gotta go. We gotta disembark. Time is fast spent, as I mentioned earlier, and we have coming up
The movement.
the movement happening right after.
Yes.
Right after.
You'll hear from the whole entire pamphlet today, actually.
Oh, everybody coming in?
Everybody coming in today.
What? Okay. That's what going on. Hey, Samuel, you're going out there by yourself, man?
Careful now.
Careful. It's 1 and 8 out there.
Anyway, guys, come. We have to go.
We gotta go. But yeah, a little fun. But guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for being a part of us, whether you listen to us on YouTube, Facebook, any of the digital other platforms. If you listen to us on the radio, big up yourself. Make sure you join us again tomorrow. We're gonna be right back here. Please, guys, remember, I'm just gonna wrap it right up because, like I said, we are preparing for the next show. But just remember for me, please, you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not